Good morning, Card Media. It's RJ back with another video, so let's get to it. Today's random Mike Schmidt item of the day from, I don't know which year this is, from 1988. Wish I should have known this. From 1988, a box from the 1988 Topps stickers with Mike Schmidt on the cover. This is a product I purchased some time ago. I actually bought an unopened box just so I could have fun ripping the entire set of cards. I shouldn't say stickers. It's not stickers. This is actually the Major League Leaders mini set, the super glossy mini cards that they did for league leaders from the mid 80s into the 90s. So it's a box. I already ripped it, but it's the remaining box of those stickers, so I keep it. I think it's cool, and it's a Mike Schmidt item. Hooray me. Today's random baseball item of the day from 1998. Topps Wade Boggs. Now, an odd thing you might say, just showing off a Wade Boggs card, even though he's a Hall of Famer, some random Wade Boggs card, 1998, nothing special about that year. Wade was with the Yankees. You know, the question is, really, the Yankees, Wade Boggs, why? This is the last card I needed for my PSA run of Wade Boggs. I could find nowhere a graded PSA card of Wade Boggs in his 1988 card. Couldn't find one. So I picked this one up for like $1. And I'll be sending it off to PSA with a bigger order in the near future, all right? Today's trivia question, still with the This Day in Baseball History theme. On this day in baseball history, May the 30th, 1935, this player plays the first inning of the first game of a doubleheader between the Philadelphia Phillies and the Boston Braves in Philadelphia. After the first inning, he never goes back on the field, and that is the end of this person's career. Name this legendary player. What you're playing for? Cool card from 2024, Topps Allen Ginter, the chrome version of Roberto Clemente. Sorry, Lou Rock, I still cannot roll my R's. But a really cool card if you're a Clemente collector, and I know at least somebody out there is Clemente collector. But that's what you're playing for. All you need to do is send me an email with your guess. I will include my email in the description below, along with a repeat of the question. You will have today and tomorrow to answer. We will pick a winner on Sunday, all right? Good luck to everybody on that one. As I've decided to do, don't want to do this all the time, so I figured I'd do it 4 times a year, specifically on a Friday, specifically the 5th Friday of a month. So I call this 5th Friday Forgotten, to talk about a member of the Hall of Fame that people have largely forgotten about. Today's entry for your consideration is one Stan Coveleski. Now, some of you may say to yourself, well, I kind of remember Stan Coveleski. Well, there's more to the story, and I'll get to that at the end. But for those of you who still say, Stan who? Consider Stan's credentials. Stan did not pitch in an unknown era of baseball. Stan was a contemporary of Walter Johnson. He was a teammate of Walter Johnson. Stan was a contemporary of the great Yankee pitchers, Waite Hoyt, Herb Pennock. I'm blanking. Anyway, Stan was a pitcher. He pitched to Ty Cobb. He pitched to Babe Ruth. He was a long-time American League star pitcher. And when you think of greats of the game, you think Tris Speaker, Zach Wheat, maybe, Ty Cobb, obviously, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig. All of these people, Stan played at the same time. Walter Johnson, Grover Cleveland Alexander is a great example. Epirixie, trying to think of the legendary pitchers of his time. Back in the late teens, mid-teens, early 20s, mid-20s even. Urban Shocker, Red Faber. These are Hall of Fame pitchers other people know. Dazzy Vance, Burley Grimes. Nobody seems to remember Stan Coveleski. Well, I'm going to break here, show you a little video of Stan, and we'll come back and talk a little bit more about some of my problems with the way people remember Stan and some of the other players that I'll talk about in the future. But let me pause right here. Let's talk a little bit more about Stan Coveleski, okay? Hang on one second. Stanislaus Anthony Coveleski was born on July 13th, 1889, to a family of Polish descent in Shamokin, Pennsylvania, a coal mining town approximately 60 miles north of Harrisburg, the state capital. As a young boy, he developed his strength by hauling lumber for the miners and developed his accurate pitching arm and control by throwing rocks at cans and birds. By the time he was 12, he was working in the mines 6 days a week from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. as a breaker boy, earning approximately $3.75 per week. A local teacher selected him to pitch for the school team, and he was eventually noticed and signed by Lancaster of the Tri-State League in 1909. He spent 3 years at Lancaster pitching very well, compiling a 23-11 record in his rookie season. He spent the next year, 1912, in Atlantic City and was noticed at the end of the year by Connie Mack. Connie Mack signed him to a contract at the end of the 1912 season, and he pitched 5 games for the Athletics, winning 2 but losing 1. Connie thought the young hurler needed more seasoning, so he farmed him out to Portland for 1913 and 1914. Connie believed he had an agreement with Portland to keep the guy under wraps. Unfortunately, Portland traded him at the end of the year. It was during his stay in Portland that Stan developed the pitch that would make him famous. To supplement his curveball and fastball, he developed a spitball. He was able to control the spitball and make it break in 3 different directions, depending upon which side of the ball the spit was placed on. He used to say that he went to his mouth for every pitch, not because he always used the spitball, but he wanted to keep opposing batters guessing. Portland had traded Stan to Spokane of the Northwestern League for 5 players because Stan had become the preeminent pitcher in that league by this time. His 1915 season in Spokane was another awesome effort, and he caught the notice of the Cleveland Indians, who had a working relationship with Spokane. Stan began the 1916 season in Cleveland as a major leaguer. He was one of 4 brothers to accomplish reaching professional baseball, including his brother Harry, pictured here as a member of my Phillies. Stan was a pitching star for Cleveland for 9 seasons from 1916 through 1924. He had 5 straight seasons in which he won at least 19 games from 1917 through 1924. Of course, he was on the 1920 World Series winning championship team. In fact, he was the best pitcher on the team, winning 3 of the team's victories in that series. Stan was traded to the Washington Senators to start 1925, where he teamed with Walter Johnson and won 20 games to help the Senators repeat as American League champions, although they were not able to repeat as world champions, being bested by the Pirates. Stan had another good year in 1926, winning 14 games, but his arm gave out on him to start the 1927 season, and he only appeared in 5 games. The Yankees took a chance on Stan to start the 1928 season. Unfortunately, his arm never returned to form, and he was released after only 12 games. At least he had the opportunity to say that he was a member of some of the greatest teams in baseball history. After baseball, Stan and his family moved to South Bend, Indiana, where he briefly coached an amateur boys team, established a gas station in town, and enjoyed leisure time hunting and fishing at a nearby lake. Eventually, the town fathers put up this statue of Stan out front of the local stadium, Four Winds Field. Stan was selected by the Veterans Committee for Hall of Fame enshrinement in 1969, a class that saw the writers elect Stan Musial and Roy Campanella. The veterans also inducted former pitcher Waite Hoyt of the Yankees, reuniting Stan with an old teammate from his glory days. Following his induction, Stan was honored by his hometown of Sheboygan with a day so that they could celebrate their new Hall of Fame son. Stan died on March 20th, 1984, at the age of 94. He was buried in South Bend. His hometown of Sheboygan put up this monument in 1997, which is a replica of Stan's Hall of Fame plaque and some other biographical information. Okay, so I hope you got a little bit of a sense how great a pitcher Stan Coveleski was. I didn't give you his stats. I mean, you guys can look up his stats. I just wanted you to understand really the length and breadth of his career. Certainly he was a Hall of Fame pitcher. More than anything, what surprises me about individuals such as Stan Coveleski, and there's another number of other Hall of Famers you can imagine, you can envision when I'm going to tell you why I have such a problem. So I showed you a second ago his SSPC card, 1987 through whatever. This was issued in multiple series to honor all the members of the Hall of Fame who'd been elected since they began printing this set. I do have a couple other cards of Stan. Here is his Dick Perez art postcard. So there's a number of different cards for Stan Coveleski. But compared to other Hall of Famers, there's very few. There's 222 according to the tradingcarddatabase.com. Now, as with most stars, most of the cards that he has were issued after his death. Now, what's interesting to me is I'm a big fan of products like Archives and Panini Chronicles and Diamond Kings. A lot of the different products out there that give cards. How many times a year do we get Babe Ruth cards or Mickey Mantle cards or, Rod Carew, Mike Schmidt? A lot of the legends of baseball, you still get cards of them in all these products. Stan, not so much. I went through the tradingcarddatabase.com, and other than cut signatures and random autographs and cut autographs, he doesn't have a lot of cards. I mean, the high-end product doesn't issue base cards of him. You don't get but a handful. There may be 5 cards that are just base cards of him in any product following his retirement. There's several cards from the Common Collection, hooray. TCMA, or what am I thinking of? You know what I'm talking about. TMC, whatever, the reprint company made a couple of cards of his back in the 80s and 90s. So there's cards of him. But current manufacturers have forgotten a whole lot of Hall of Fame players, and I don't know why. You may say that they're not top-tier Hall of Famers, but, I mean, how often do you see a Burley Grimes? How often do you see a Dazzy Vance? How often do you see Joe Cronin in a hobby release of Archives or something like that? It's always the big names. Lou Boudreau It's always the big names, Joe Gordon, there's 1,000 names I could go over. Almost 1,000. That's not 1,000 Hall of Famers, but there's so many great Hall of Famers that I think have been forgotten by the hobby. Now, the reason, obviously, because they don't sell. Okay. I'm sorry, but, I think they should still honor these people once in a while in a set. That's why I'm such a huge fan of Hall of Fame cards, because it honors the greatness of this game. So when you can get a card of a Hall of Famer, it's a rare thing sometimes because some of these Hall of Famers aren't honored the way they should be. So that is my little history recap, my little rant on Stan Coveleski. He's not the only one that I consider forgotten. That's why I'm doing this series. He's just my latest one. And again, I'm doing this every time there's a 5th Friday in the month. I will do this on the 5th Friday. So hope you all enjoyed that. If you did, please consider like, subscribing, commenting, and all that jazz. I really do appreciate your support as I try my best to support everybody's great card media, right? Thank you very much for watching. Come back on Sunday for the trivia recap. Otherwise, have a great week and take care.